Bright spot, we lost by 9 with our backup quarterback throwing 3 interceptions. The Eagles aren't better than the Cowboys with Dak playing. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show on a Victory Monday. It wasn't the prettiest game last night. You got a little nervous there in the third quarter, right? But you woke up 6-0, right? You are 6-0. Congratulations on that. Big thumbs up for the Eagles' massive win last night, sending the Cowboys packing and back to third place in the NFC East. There's a lot that's going on in today's show. A lot to go ahead and get into. And we're going to get injury updates. We'll do our NFL National story looking at the rest of the NFC. But I want to make sure you guys stay tuned. We have a massive announcement. There's a really cool thing happening tonight on the Thomas Mott Show. I'll tell you what that is coming up here in just a couple of minutes. You don't want to miss that announcement. It is really good. Okay, so Philadelphia wins last night, right? They look great doing it. Defense was fantastic. Offense was really good at times. It's a good Cowboy defense. Credit where credit is due, blah, blah, blah. But have you noticed, maybe on Twitter, maybe in your friend group, that overall, there are still plenty of Cowboy fans who don't want to admit that they lost. This is classic Cowboy fan fashion. They don't want to admit the fact that, okay, they have a good defense. I mean, credit where credit is due, but the Eagles are a better team, which I told you they were, and I've been telling you they were for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks here on the Thomas Mott Show. This is just one example of many examples that are going around on Twitter right now, and I've heard from multiple people in my friend group who are Cowboy fans saying that because Dak didn't play, the game didn't count. If you're really trying to pitch that to me on a Monday morning, you are absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if Dak played. I don't care if Troy Aikman would have played. I don't care if Roger Staubach was back there. Philadelphia was better last night. They won. Quit complaining. Look at this tweet right here. Cowboys Nation. This is one of many. Okay, this one has 3,000 likes. Bright spot. We lost by 9 with our backup quarterback throwing 3 interceptions. The Eagles aren't better than the Cowboys with Dak playing. The Eagles aren't better than the Cowboys with Dak playing. Are you sure? Are you sure? Now, I'm not going to sit back and say that Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott. I think 100% healthy Dak Prescott would have given them a chance, but you cannot look at both of these rosters and tell me that the Cowboys would have for sure won last night with Dak Prescott. Oh, Cooper Rush threw the 3 interceptions. Dak wouldn't have done that. Have you watched this team? Have you watched our secondary? Philadelphia is way, 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 way better than people understand. And even if at times the Dallas defense played well against the Eagles offensively, the Eagle defense is as legit as we have seen in the past decade. And the fact that that's still being overlooked even this morning is absolutely incredible. Dak talked to USA Today, or was talking to some reporters after losing that game. Well, he didn't play. His Cowboys losing. And he said this, quote, "I don't necessarily get that frustrated over that. Timeline being pushed back. I can't control this," Prescott said Sunday while walking out of the Lincoln Financial Field locker room. "Obviously, something is healing. I had plans. The bone obviously didn't have the same plans." And so Dak was unable to go last night, although he said had he been his decision, he could have played. But the right move for the Cowboys was to not play Dak Prescott, and I understand and respect that even as an Eagle fan, but don't start your Monday trying to tell me that if Dak would have been in there, the Eagles would have lost that football game, because you're probably the same Cowboy fan who was trying to tell me that, maybe there's a quarterback controversy. Maybe 4-0 Cooper Rush as a starter is better than Dak Prescott, because last time I checked, the Cowboys only scored 3 points whenever Dak Prescott was and has been the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys in 2022. It's just funny, not everybody, but it is funny to watch. I knew this would happen, but overall, a really big win for the Eagles. We'll get to that announcement here in just 1 second. First, though, I do want to quickly mention a couple of things from last night's game. Jalen Hurts didn't have the best game of his entire career. Sorry he didn't light it up for 400 yards and throw, the football 45 times. He didn't need to. Jalen Hurts did exactly what he needed to do in order to go ahead and win, and that was establish a great rhythm early on, get the Eagles out front, run the football very, very well, especially in the second half. That 3rd down and 4 scramble was impressive, and find his targets. 5 for A.J. Brown and a touchdown, 5 for Devontae Smith and a touchdown. The Eagle offense did what they needed to do. They converted on way more 3rd downs than even you could have hoped, and in the end, when they needed to drive to go ahead and put this game out of reach, they did that, and credit them. Now, you got to give credit to the Cowboy defense. It's a good defense, and especially when Lane Johnson went out, we'll talk about that. Landon Dickerson went out for a little bit. That changes what you do offensively, and maybe the Eagles didn't adjust well enough there in the 3rd quarter, but they still scored in the 4th quarter, and that's all that matters. You give credit to a good defense, but the Eagle offense is more talented, therefore it was better, and that's a simple fact. But the real winner today has got to be the Eagles defense. The Eagle defense, which has been great all year, but, had a couple of times where you'd have instances where DeAndre Swift would run all over you, or maybe they have a little bit of lull against Kyler Murray in the fourth quarter to the point that the national media wasn't ready to give them full credit. You're getting full credit this morning. Sure, the Cowboys rushed for $134 on the ground, but Cooper Rush threw 3 interceptions. CeeDee Lamb did virtually nothing all night. There was no other Cowboy who had over 40 yards receiving besides CeeDee Lamb. Big play Slay. CJ Gardner-Johnson, who fought back from what looked like a really bad wrist sprain, or even worse. James Bradbury was fantastic in this one. Credit to Marcus Epps. The linebacking core did their job. The only thing that you can knock the Eagle defense for last night was their lack of pressure on Cooper Rush. A little bit there in the fourth quarter. It got a little better, especially on that final interception where BG kind of got his face right in the grill of Cooper Rush and caused that underthrow on the third interception there. But overall, that would be the one critique that you would have, is that you'd like to see a little more pressure. But again, the Dallas Cowboys are a good football team. No one's denying the fact that the Cowboys were able to stay afloat without their star quarterback for 4 games and win all of these. Now, you can make the argument that they beat a lot of bad football teams, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Dallas played a good game. They were open to the challenge of trying to come back in this one, but in the end, the Eagles are just a better roster, and that's why they're 6-0 and atop the NFC and looking like the best team right now in the NFC. Okay, before I go ahead and update you guys on where we're at in terms of injuries and where we're looking ahead to the future, undefeated season, who knows? The big announcement is we are doing an Eagles content creator collaboration tonight on the Thomas Mott Show. We have Philly 500, we have Philly Mike, and we have Lord Brunson all coming on 8 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to do a 4-person roundtable. Now, couldn't get every single Eagle content creator. I mean, there's a lot of people in terms of people who talk about Philadelphia and the NFL here on various platforms, but I wanted to get some of the big guys that you guys recognize here. These are some of the biggest Eagle YouTubers on the platform, and we've never all hung out together. At least I haven't. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. We're just going to, talk about whatever. There's no script on this one. It's not like we're going to talk about this or that. It's just 4 Eagle fans, 4 Eagle guys hanging out, reminiscing about beating the Dallas Cowboys, talking about what's going on with the Eagles, and looking ahead to where things can go this year and how crazy it is. 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight, okay? It'll be live. It'll obviously be recorded and played back later, so if you can't make it, that's fine, but you want to be there live. It's going to be a bunch of fun. We want you guys to be a part of that, so stay tuned for that one. 8 p.m. tonight. Very excited for that collab. Okay, as you go forward in Philadelphia, you get to the bye week, which is crucial. I mean, this is a great time for a bye. I've never been a fan of early bye weeks, but the fact you get one now to get this offensive line healthy is really, really good. And then you see the stretch that they showed you on national TV last night. 2 weeks from now, you're going to go ahead and play the Pittsburgh Steelers, who had a very good game and a win against the Tampa Bay Bucks, but they're not a very good football team overall. Maybe they start to play better, but that will be a game Philadelphia's favored in. The Texans, so far, have not been able to really win a lot of games this year. Eagles will be favored in. Carson Wentz's maybe return to the link, unless it's Taylor Heineke. Eagles will be favorited. The Colts offense, Eagles will be favorited. Right now with the Green Bay Packers, the Eagles will be favorited. I think Green Bay will be a lot better by November 27th, but still a massive game at the link on Sunday night. Tennessee, Eagles will be favorited. Maybe the Giants are the 2 hardest games left on the schedule, honestly, based on what the Giants have done so far, sitting there at 5-1 in the NFC East after a big win against the Baltimore Ravens. Bears, Eagles favorited. Dallas on the 24th, is that going to be for any sort of meaningful, seeding in terms of the NFC East? I don't know. The Saints, the Eagles will be favorited, and then again, the Giants again, and what a game will probably be one that Philadelphia hopefully doesn't have to actually start their starters on, because they might be having a first-round bye, and so they're not going to go undefeated. They kind of hinted at that a lot during the broadcast last night, but you go through the schedule, find me 5 losses. Unless the wheels fall off the cart, find me 5 losses there, because 5 losses would still be an impressive season. I'm seeing 3, maybe 4, depending on what happens the next couple of weeks, but the Eagles stay healthy. They are scary, they are dangerous, and a lot of people this morning are finally giving the Eagles credit where credit is due, and it's just fun to finally see. Okay, again, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Thomas Mott Show. Plenty more collabs coming up here, a lot of other big stuff in the works. You guys are not going to want to miss what we're doing on the show here, so if you appreciate that, thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Also, a lot of our subscribers should turn on the notifications as well, because some people are missing the videos because they don't have the notification bell, and the way YouTube works, they don't always show subscribers the videos, and so you just want to have the show with the notification bell turned on. Okay, here's the update from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Injury-wise, not a lot of bad stuff. It looked worse than it actually was, and so here is where we are at. Eagles veteran offensive lineman Lane Johnson was knocked out of the game in the second half with a concussion and did not return. He was replaced by Jack Driscoll. Offensive lineman Landon Dickerson, who also left the Cardinals game with a leg injury, limped off in the fourth quarter but quickly returned. Safety CJ Gardner-Johnson, intercepted quarterback, Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush in the second quarter, injured his hand in the third quarter. They're trying to rip the ball away from Cowboy running back Tony Pollard. He later returned and nabbed a second interception as the Cowboys were driving in the fourth quarter. When asked how his hand was, he says, quote, feels good after the win, and that was to Melissa Stark from NBC after the game. And so really, the Eagles have avoided a major injury. I thought for sure there was either a shoulder tear early for CJ Gardner-Johnson, a broken wrist, that would have been awful. The fact he came back and played effectively and was able to get that second interception, this is the guy they traded for. First couple of weeks, CJ was a little bit lackluster. He's picked it up now, and if he continues this level of play, Pro Bowl? There'll be multiple Pro Bowlers in that secondary. Good news with Johnson. You hate concussions because, the long-term effects, but the fact that he just had a concussion and didn't tear an ACL or something ridiculous is really good news. The Eagles are going to go into this bye week a little bit banged up. They're going to come out very healthy. Dickerson getting a bye is going to be massive for Philadelphia because that ankle has been a real problem for him. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually a lot worse than people realize. That's really, really good news for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, let's wrap up here by doing our National League story of the day. I always like to talk about the rest of the NFL just because, it's a show about whatever I want to talk about here, whether it's Eagles or NFL or whatever. Here's where the conferences stand, and it's very interesting to me to look at the top of both of these NFL conferences. We'll go with the AFC first. Buffalo and Kansas City are clearly in a league of their own. After that, who would you trust to win a playoff game? The Jets are 4-2 and good for them. Do you trust the Jets to win a playoff game? No. The Titans are 3-2 in a terrible division. You don't trust them. The Chargers defense has been atrocious. They play tonight. Indy, Baltimore, they're 3-3. The Bengals 3-3. There's a lot of very bad to mediocre teams. You see two at the top that you would actually bet money on to win their division and probably win a playoff game. The rest, it's a cluster at 3 losses, really, in the AFC. And the same, honestly, goes for the NFC. It's almost a mirror image. You have two really good teams, Philadelphia and Minnesota, right? They played each other. It was, one team was better than the other, much like with Bills and Chiefs. These are your two best teams. After that, you have kind of this one little pretender team, also from New York. You have the Jets at 4-2. The Giants are 5-1, and they're scary and good, but can they win a playoff game? Would you trust the Giants to win a playoff game without weapons on the outside? I wouldn't. And then you have a bunch of other teams that have massive issues. Dallas, they got to find their identity when Dak Prescott comes back. The Bucs have been atrocious. Their receivers look old. Their offensive line looks bad, and Tom looks kind of checked out a little bit. The Niners lost to the Falcons. The Rams barely beat the horrible Carolina Panthers. The Green Bay Packers couldn't beat the Jets at home. I mean, the Falcons still have 3 losses, and they don't really scare you offensively. Seattle is a very mediocre football team. There are not a lot of good teams here. And so if you're Philadelphia, to kind of tie the whole show today into a bow, first round bye is going to be crucial. I mean, if you make the path to the Super Bowl, come to Philly, where you have to win 2 games at home and that's it, and then you go to Glendale, Arizona for the Super Bowl in February, it makes it way easier. You make the Vikings come in a cold weather. You make the Giants come in a cold weather. You make the Cowboys, the Bucks, the Niners come to the cold weather, raucous Lincoln Financial Field. You saw it last night. The energy is insane. It is going to be crazy, and I think the pedal has got to stay down. You've got to make sure you win as much as physically possible. That way you lock down that first round bye and really set yourself up for a real chance to go ahead and make a deep run to the Super Bowl, because as currently constructed, Philadelphia is the best roster maybe in the entire NFL, for sure the NFC, and if they stay healthy, which is something we should always be hoping and praying for, they are looking really good. Let's just end today by saying, again, congrats. All right, imagine the turmoil today had the Cowboys won. All your dumb little Dallas friends would be texting you saying, ooh, they lost again, and all of the Twitter people would be going nuts. They did it. Philadelphia won. They had an incredible drive in the fourth quarter, scored in the fourth quarter. Hurts didn't turn the football over. I mean, they looked great. 3 picks of Cooper Rush, 2.5 games up of Dallas. This early in the season is massive. You go into the bye healthy. The Eagles are sitting very good, and I am pumped today on a Monday, despite being really tired because I was up late last night, just like you guys were. Okay, live show tonight. Do not miss the Eagle Content Creator Collaboration. It's going to be a bunch of fun. I think we're going to have an absolute blast. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to stay tuned for that one, and we'll talk to you guys in the next show. Plenty of great shows coming up. You guys are not going to want to miss it. I appreciate all of you. This has been the Thomas Mott Show. The Birds, they're 6-0.